Hey guys, welcome back to It's Now or Never. I'm your host, Alex Willard, and today is a very special episode. This is episode 9 of season 2, but it is not only just another episode, just another day. Today is Einon's birthday. It is Einon's 1 year anniversary, and I am so excited to share this day with you guys. Oh my God. So, a year ago today, I released my first ever podcast episode. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to record audio. I, at that time, was not videoing my podcasts because I didn't know how to work a camera. I didn't know how to work YouTube. It was this whole journey I started literally like that week. I sat down, I was like, I'm going to make a podcast and I'm going to do it. And within a week, I had everything up and running and going. And it's been crazy. It has honestly changed my life. Not because I'm like rich and famous and whatever, but like it's changed the way I see things. I have rewired my brain in these past couple years, but this podcast has become almost like my own personal diary. And it gets me to think about things more deeply, and be more intentional about the things I'm doing. But this is not only a special day because this is the day I release my podcast. This is another important day in my life. And we'll get into that. Trust me, we'll get into that later. But I really just wanted to take this episode to go over how I started my podcast, because I know there's so many people out there that want to start a podcast or they wonder how I did it. And so I would love to talk about that. What made me want to start my podcast, how I did it, and then the journey and really how I've changed since coming out with everything. There's been so many different things, from just having my first episode or learning how to work audio or coming out with my story in July, just like hard launching it. It has been crazy. And I love every second of it. And I cannot wait to see where Einon goes. It's like my little baby. I actually, oh my gosh. Okay. So yesterday I decided, I was like, I'm going to bake a cake because I was looking on the internet and I could not find anywhere in Stillwater, Oklahoma that makes gluten-free cakes and decorates them in like a short amount of time, because I'm a procrastinator and I do things last minute. And I'm gluten-free. I'm allergic to gluten. And I was like, well, you know what? I am just going to bake a cake. Why not? Why not bake and decorate a cake? Right? Yeah. So it's on TikTok right now. I just posted it on TikTok, me like baking it, but I baked the cake. I decorated it all today, like last night and today. And then I had my best friend Riley help me. And then we went out to the lake and we took some really cute promo pictures with the cake. And just for like the 1 year, I'm so happy. And we got some really awesome content that I cannot wait to share. But I will show you. This is the picture of the cake. I'll insert a picture right in this area somewhere. So if you're watching on like Spotify or on YouTube, I'm so proud of this thing, guys. I have never baked a cake before in my life. That was such an impulsive decision. But if anyone knows me, they know like I'm super crazy impulsive. And it was awesome. It was amazing. I loved it. So now if you know anyone that needs a cake baked, just call me and I'll bake you a cake. But on a more serious note, let's just get into Einon, right? Oh my God. Okay. This has been on my calendar literally since last year. I was like, I am going to start this podcast and I'm going to have a 1 year anniversary and I'm going to make a big deal about it. And I'm going to like, it was like a goal for me. Like, I'm going to keep up with this. It's been a journey. Okay. We haven't been super consistent. There's been some rocky roads here and there, but we're figuring it out. We're a lot more consistent now. Anyways, but I really was like, I had this goal in mind. Like I used to make, like almost like mini podcast episodes on my Snapchat story. I had this like workout story in high school, like really like my senior year. And I would post on there like 5-minute long videos of me talking, of just different things I would think about during the day, on how I thought the world worked and how I thought people should work. And really like starting conversations on different topics that I don't think many people were talking about, but it was stuff that was coming to my head because of stuff I was dealing with. And I would talk about all these different things on there. And I had so many people be like, Alex, you should really start a podcast. I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about that, right? And I never really saw myself as somebody that could do something like that. I want to be such a creator. I feel so creative, but I look at other people that create things and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, how do they do that? I don't know. So I had this vision in mind. It was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this. And my therapist, even because I'd started going to therapy when everything had happened to me, and we had talked about me eventually one day sharing my story. And I knew I wanted to share my story. I just didn't know how I wanted to share my story, what I was going to say. I didn't know what my story was going to be at that point. Back in this time of my life, my junior, senior of high school, I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I've talked about this before, and I'm not going to go down a super depressing path today, I promise you guys. But I didn't see myself graduating high school. I didn't know if I was going to make it that far. And that sounds really awful and terrible. And it was a really dark time in my life. A lot of things happened, but it made me such a stronger person. And I truly believe I have completely done a full 180. I'm not a different person, but I'm a better person. I see things a lot differently. I'm a lot more intentional. I have a lot more gratitude, and I've learned to appreciate the life that I live and the opportunities I have. And I've also learned that you create your life. Like, you can sit here and you can let things happen and you could just go with the flow, or you can actually do it. And I really, like, a switch flipped in my head. And I one day was like, I'm actually going to start going for things and I'm going to start doing it. And this was one of them. This was like that, like, impulsive, like, this is something I want to do. I feel a calling to do it. I feel a calling to talk to people. Here we go. Here we are. I'm talking to you guys. I have a podcast a year later. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I went on spring break my freshman year of college, and I really, like, the wheels were turning for this podcast the whole time. I come back, I start making some designs, my logo. I figured out the name. It's now or never, whatever. The branding at the time, guys, I took down all those posts. Like, I'm so glad I took it down. The branding was awful. It was so bad. It was super cute at the time. I thought it was. Not anymore. I'm still trying to figure out my branding, whatever. But I was like, okay, so I have that. Now, like, how does audio work? Like, where do I film on? Like, how do I edit my audio? Like, at that time, I really didn't edit my audio at all. And if you go listen to any of those episodes, I'm so sorry for you. I am so sorry. The audio is awful. It is so bad. It is so bad. I went to, like, my school library and rented a mic. And I would, like, rent a room, like a study room. And I would film and record. And it was awesome because I didn't know what I was doing. And I also, at the time, I didn't know how to talk to how to talk into a microphone. Now I'm talking into a microphone and talking to a camera. But I didn't know how to just talk. I think my first episode was like 30 minutes maybe. And I had to, like, write down everything I wanted to talk about on this, like, whiteboard, because I did like so many takes in my intro, and, like, what I was talking about, I did so many different takes because I kept messing up and I didn't know how to, like, flow and how to actually keep a conversation. And I struggle still, like, talking, because I feel like I talk in circles or I'm just, like, all over the place. But I'm so sorry, guys. This is, like, I do this in one take. Like, maybe I'll, like, refilm my intro or, like, the first 30 seconds, but, like, besides that, this is all, like, one take. I have no notes. I'm just in my head. I get in front of the camera, I plug my mic in, I'm like, let's do this. I know what I'm going to talk about. But it's super genuine now. But at the time, it was like, oh my God, like I feel like I had to like research all these things and like take notes and like plan out my episodes. And like I have some sort of plan for like every episode now, but like I don't like write it down on a whiteboard in front of me. So I'm like reading off of it and like, okay, what am I going to talk about next? Like stay on topic, whatever. And so that was a struggle. I was like, I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to talk. My uncle's a radio show host and I grew up listening to him all the time. And so I'm like, I feel like I like could ask him for advice. I never asked anyone for advice. I just did it all myself. I was like balls to the walls, like, let's do this. And I did it. It wasn't the prettiest at first. And you know what? That's fine. Imperfection is great. And I'm still imperfect. This podcast is such a mess. You guys don't even see it. But yeah, no. So I filmed this episode and this episode sat on my computer for a couple days because I didn't know like hosting platforms. I was trying to teach myself the world of podcasting at this time. It was so confusing to me. I was trying to figure out like what RSS feed was and what platform to use and like all these different things. And like I had to pay for things. And I was like, I'm a college student. I'm broke. Oh my gosh, I can pay for subscriptions. Now I pay for so many subscriptions for my podcast, but that's neither here nor there, right? But yeah, so I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what platform to do, whatever. And I was all over the place. I was really just trying to figure it out. But at the time, the only people that were following me and listening to my podcast was my friends and family. So it's not like anyone cared anyways. But they all understood. But yeah, it was a journey. And then I go home for summer and I didn't have a mic. So I had to go to the store and buy a mic, right? So I go order a mic. I order like an interface. What is an interface, right? If anyone doesn't know what that is, because most of you listening probably don't know what an interface is. An interface is like this box. This is the only way I can describe it because I don't know what it is. They tell me what I need and I'm like, okay, I trust you. So it's this box that I plug this awesome microphone into and I plug it into the box and then I plug the box into my computer and it records the audio. Crazy. I had a different mic at the time, which I had some problems with. It caused problems sometimes and that's okay. We've moved on. We've upgraded to this beauty right here. But yeah, so like I had to go buy an interface. I had to buy a mic. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, we're in the summer. Like I have to keep up with this. Well, little did I know, right? Little did I know. There is one episode that, oh gosh, what is it? I think it's like episode maybe 6, maybe I want to say something like that. It is at the beginning. I posted it at the beginning of June. In that episode, I sound so sick. So sick. At the time, I had gone to the hospital because I had a really, really, really bad UTI. And it was like awful. They thought I had appendicitis. I had like this fever. It was this whole thing. Go to the ER. They're like, you don't have anything. You just have a UTI, no appendicitis. You're fine. Discharged me, sent me home. Okay. Within these 3 days, right, that I'm home chilling, my tonsils, you can see them. They're like golf balls on the side of my neck. It's awful. I could barely talk. I was so sick. And I'd been on and off sick like for the past like couple months before school ended. And then 3 days later, all hell broke loose. My mom decided to finally take me to a doctor now that it was Monday. It was the weekday, whatever. Takes me to a doctor. And they're like, she should go back to the emergency room. So they sent me back. And oh boy, I had mono. It was really bad. It was really, really bad. I ended up getting admitted to the hospital for 8 days. It was awful. So over the summer, I almost died. I almost died. It was awful. I was like on morphine for 8 days straight, which was awesome. It was super great because I do not remember it being 8 days. For me, I was there for a couple days. It was like a little sleepover. I ate gluten-free peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all the time. Like my nurses would come in, take my blood, talk to me. I just slept all day. It was great. All my family was coming to see me. I got to eat whatever I wanted because like I wasn't really eating. So like anything I was craving, my parents would just get. And then I'd have a few bites and then I'd be whatever, I don't want it anymore. So it was great. It was awesome. But everyone was like, oh my God, we thought you were going to die. It was like 8 days, blah, blah, blah. Just kidding. I'm very grateful for my family. I love them. They're amazing. But I'm in the hospital for 8 days, right? I go home and by this time, I've lost like 10 pounds in like a week and a half, right? I'm super skinny. I look like a war prisoner. I looked like a teenage boy, like a prepubescent boy. It was really bad. My hair was falling out. I was still sick. I could barely stand long enough to take a shower without feeling like I was going to pass out. I couldn't walk around without feeling like I was going to pass out. So I did not film a podcast for a really long time. I think until like July, like mid-July. Because then I decided, I sat down with my therapist and we put a date on the calendar. Because I was like, there were so many days in college, like my freshman year, that I was laying in bed at night and I was like, I have this podcast thing. I have my Instagram. Like, I just want to post. No, this was even before my podcast. I was like, I just want to post a video on my Instagram coming out and telling my story and just telling everyone the truth. I just want people to believe me. Like, I'm so done with this bullshit. Like, I just want to come out and tell everyone the truth. And this was like thoughts at like 2 a.m. And I would tell my therapist, I'm like, I'm so done with this. Like, I just want to tell everyone. Because at this time, not all of my family knew. Like, my parents knew. But we didn't tell everyone else. Because I didn't want to tell everyone else. I wasn't ready. I was embarrassed. But at the same time, I was like, people need to know. I can't keep hiding this. So I, talked to my therapist over summer, put a date on the calendar. We're like, on this day, this is when I'm going to release my story. So I did. I went onto I was at home and I sat down. I made like a little nook with like my chair and a cute little end table and some books and my mic and everything. Set up my phone. And I sat there and made a 3-minute long video. And I said, my name is Alexandria Willard, blah, 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 blah. And I'm a victim of child exploitation and sextortion. And then talked about my story and how we needed to change the narrative and how I wasn't shy or embarrassed and I wasn't going to be shameful because I'm a victim here, right? And I just want to share my story because nobody else will speak up. And it got me a lot of support. I thought I did get a lot of support from people, a lot of amazing people. And I also had a lot of people online reaching out saying, hey, this happened to me. What do I do next? Like, I can't find anyone that's talking about this except for you now. Like, what do I do? And so there's been so many girls and guys that I've helped direct to the right resources, and I've almost held their hand through their process of getting justice for their situation or telling their family or whatever it is, gaining their power back as a survivor. And that is why I shared my story. I didn't share my story to get attention or to make people feel bad or to like get rid of like the guilt. Like, I shared my story so that I could help others going through what I went through. Because when I went through everything, there was nobody out there that talked about it. No one. And I didn't know what to do. Because I would sit there and Google search, like trying to find women that had come out and talked about this. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why women don't talk about this. And I learned that only after I came out and shared my story. Because people still don't believe you at the end of the day. Not everyone's going to be on your side. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I just had to learn how to be okay with people not liking me. And that's fine. Not everyone is going to like you. I'm such a people pleaser. I can't stand when people do not like me. And so it's been a really tough journey. But I need to stop feeling like I have to prove myself to everyone. And that was a part of this whole thing. I had this expectation of everyone finally being like, oh my God, I was wrong all along. I'm so sorry, Alex. I'm so sorry I said these awful things to you. I'm so sorry I dragged your name through the mud. I'm so sorry I talked crap about you to all my friends. Blah, 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 blah. There's still going to be people out there that don't give a fuck. For lack of better words. Seriously. Not everyone's going to care. And that's okay. And that's okay. But I became concrete in myself and my truth. And I have become strong in who I am and my identity. And I know who I am. And I'm not embarrassed. And that's all that matters. And that was me taking my power back. Saying I'm not hiding anymore. And there we go. And that was a turning point for me. Because if I can sit there and post a video on my Instagram, my TikTok, my podcast saying, this is who I am, this is what happened to me, I don't care if you've heard rumors, this is the truth, and I'm not embarrassed, and I'm not shameful, and I'm not going to be quiet. If I can do that as going into my sophomore year of college, and then I didn't make a sorority, but then I rushed and I went through all these things and I just got this awesome internship and blah, blah, blah. Like, if I can do that, I can do anything. I can do anything. I did something that takes so much courage. Like, if you told me 3 years ago that I would be doing this, I would laugh in your face. But it's been amazing. It's been so amazing. And after I shared my story and, started my sophomore year of college, things got hectic. I put a lot on my plate and I barely posted. I was really inconsistent. And also because I didn't know where I wanted to go with this. I didn't want to keep talking about boring topics. Not boring, sorry, that's awful to say. I felt like I was trying to teach you guys and to coach, and that's not who I am. I'm not super serious. I'm really not. That stuff, mushy-gushy stuff makes me feel weird. So, if that helps you guys figure out what kind of person I am. But I didn't know where I wanted to go with this whole thing, and so I kind of took a little bit of a break. But yeah, after that, I, started at my sophomore year. I had so much going on. I was just super inconsistent. I didn't know where I wanted to go with it. But I took time and I really dug deep and tried to figure out, who am I, right? Because it's really hard to talk about finding yourself and seeking fulfillment and getting out of like a lost state when you're lost. I felt like I was really lost this fall. I didn't know what I wanted. I had so much going on. I couldn't hone in on just one thing. And I feel like in this time in my life, I'm just going through all these changes so fast. I'm going through so many different periods of my life so quickly, where I'm just changing and evolving. And so I really wanted to just wait and hold off until I really knew exactly what I wanted from this, to really dive full in head first, go for it. And honestly, I know what this is now, and I know who I am. I don't know anything about who I am or where I want to go or who I want to be. I just know the type of person I am. And I think that's all that matters. And this is like my personal diary. Yes, I love, love, love talking about different things with you guys and starting the conversation. But this is also what I need to hear, because I'm somebody going through all of these times too. And I just want to talk about it and make people realize like you're not alone in the thoughts and the feelings you have, right? So in my first ever episode, I talked about learning to get past worrying about what other people think and just learning really to seek fulfillment. That is my motto of my life, of my podcast, is seek fulfillment, learning to seek fulfillment in the everyday. And in this episode, I talked about how, I feel like sometimes we just become so full of envy with other people around us, and we want to be like people around us. And so we build our lives based on what these people have and what these people do, because we want to do what they do. We want to have what they have. We want to look like how they look. And in reality, it's just taking us further and further away from who we're actually supposed to be. So I talk about, finding yourself and going on this journey of being by yourself and learning, quality over quantity friendships, and learning to take that extra time for self-care and just like take the time to actually think to yourself and to let the wheels turn in your head. Stop like taking your self-care time and using it on TikTok or just mindless activities, and actually taking that time and being intentional with it, and being intentional with your values and your goals, and making sure that the things that you want, you're actually achieving, or what you want to do next, and you kind of have this somewhat thought of what you want to do next. Okay, so you have this path mapped out for you, whether that's a path that you've set because it feels right, or you're going with the flow and taking the next opportunity that feels right. You have to do what's best for you, not what you think other people will think is cool, or what will make you more money, or whatever. Like, you have to, once you learn how to find yourself and how to truly be okay with who you are, once you know your values, your 2 words, I talked about that in another episode, we'll get to that. Once you know that, it's so much easier to differentiate what opportunities and what choices are good for the path that you're supposed to go on. At the same time, you can make that path. If you have a dream, an aspiration, and it feels right to you, you're not doing it because you want to be rich and famous, because why not? Like, if you have something that feels right, like, this is what I'm meant to do, this is my purpose, go out and do it. Make that path for yourself. The thing is that I talk in another episode, testing your existence. I talk about just the thought of testing your existence on this earth. It's so crazy, right? The fact that you are even born, like you're an Olympic swimmer. You were born an Olympic swimmer. Good job, right? But, you're born, you're here, you're in the place you're in, you're in the body you're in. Like, the fact that you live where you live, you're healthy, if you're going to college, like, that is such, just these opportunities. Like, you have to look around you and look what you have, look at where you're at, and look at the vessel that you're in, and be grateful and say, oh my God, how did I get here? Like, this is amazing. Like, I am a person existing on this earth, right? If there is something that I want to do, I can go out and do it. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to make it happen. There is nothing that is off limits for who you think that you want to be, or who you're going to be. There is nothing that is off limits. But the thing is I feel like we limit our minds, because there's this empathy gap, that with your future self, there's an empathy gap with your future self, because you see your future self as a stranger. So you're not doing the things to take care of your future self because you don't really care that much. The thing is with an empathy gap is if somebody is like a stranger to you, you're not going to care as much about them, right? But if somebody is a friend of yours or it's you right now, like you're going to take care of those people. Somebody you care about, you're going to take care of them, right? Same goes for like if you see all these rich and famous people doing all these amazing things, like you're like, that could never be me, right? That could never be me because you don't know these people. That could never be me. At the end of the day, those are normal, regular people. They eat, breathe, and sleep just like you. We all bleed the same at the end of the day. All those opportunities, there are opportunities for you. And if you really believe that you can do it, you're going to do it. But you have to be 100% concrete in that. And you have to be willing to dive head first, go balls to the walls, and actually go for it and get after it and do it. Or you can spend your life sitting around feeling sorry about yourself, having all these dreams, aspirations, and wishes, and not doing anything with it. What kind of person do you want to be? Right? What kind of impact do you want to leave on this earth? I went through this seminar activity lesson last semester with a group I'm in. And this lady came in and she was talking about, your 2 words, your 2 values. And, she asks, what are your values? And, I list off, you probably think of like 10 words, right? Your values. You have like 10 different values, right? No. She said, you need to have 2 values. That's insane. 2 values to define your life. And yes, they can change to depending on what stage you are in your life. But she gave us this list of probably 50 different values. And she had us come up with 2. 2 makes it easiest to focus on them, right? And so I had all these different values and I say, okay, what do all these have in common? Can I put these into groups together? Can I tie these into one another? And so I came up with intentionality and courage. And those are the words I have written everywhere in my room. I have written everywhere in my life. And I ask myself every day, when I make a choice, when I do something, is this intentional? Am I being courageous? Am I being intentional with my words? Am I being intentional with my thoughts towards myself? Am I being intentional with my actions? Am I being intentional with my time? Am I being courageous? Right? And those are my 2 words. And your 2 words might be different. But I think that's really important in this journey of learning to figure out who you are. I've also learned over the past few weeks that you have to invest in yourself. And education is so empowering. Not just education like going to college, but constantly learning new things. Taking assessments, like personality tests are super fun, and learning how your brain works is really fun because you get to figure out how everything works and how you can best use your skills and who you should surround yourself with, what skills you should surround yourself with in other people. I think that's super cool. But going to seminars and conferences and learning and listening from different people and picking different people's brains. I still have such bad social anxiety. So I will go to these seminars and I will listen to some amazing women speak. And I'm like, wow, if I could just talk to them about my thoughts. Oh my gosh, the things I would say, the things I would ask. Okay, why don't I? Like, everyone has an email. Most people have LinkedIn. So I'm like, I schedule coffees and I go up to these women and I talk to them, or these men, and I ask them questions and I say, wow, I really liked what she said about this. I do this and I was wondering about this and whatever. And you pick their brain and you learn how they work and you learn how they see the world. And then it just adds to this vault in your head of how you work and how you think and how you feel. And it's awesome. And education is so empowering. And education doesn't just come from college. It doesn't just come from books. It comes from the people around you. And I think that is so important. There is a seminar I went to, not a seminar, there was a conference I went to a couple weeks ago. I listened to so many amazing women, and I have so many notes that I can't wait to share with you guys. That's going to be on a next episode. This episode is really just for Ainon's birthday. But I will definitely be sharing that. But it's just, once you become a learner and you get so hungry for knowledge, you can't stop. And it's awesome. It's so cool. But yeah, this whole journey has just this whole podcast journey has completely changed the way I think and the way I see things. And I don't see myself as someone like better than you guys or I'm smarter than you guys. I just want to share my thoughts. I have gone on this journey of social intelligence and, learning how to work through all these crazy things of being a young adult, being a college student. And you guys aren't alone. You're not alone. And this is your space as well. This is your safe space. And yeah, I really want this podcast to grow as I grow and evolve as I evolve, and just follow me throughout my different stages of life through the next few years. I don't know when I would ever see this podcast dying off, but it's definitely going to continue. I love Ainon so much. I love you guys so much. I really hope you guys have gotten value from this, and I hope it's empowering for you guys. I hope some of these episodes at least, make your wheels turn or, make you think of things in a different way. But this is just, it's so big for me. And, today being the birthday and today being the 3-year anniversary of everything happening for me, there's so many emotions. There's so many emotions, but it's taught me that you can take your power back, and happiness is not circumstantial. That's what my therapist told me a couple of years ago. And it's true. You choose if you're happy or not. You can choose if you want to lay in bed all day and not do shit with your life. You can choose to go to get a job. You can choose to go to the gym. You can choose to scroll TikTok. You can choose to stay up till 2:00 in the morning filming a podcast like me. But it's all your life. You can choose to be sad and depressed and say, poor me, or you can say it's not going to define me and go after it and do whatever you want to do with this life. It's crazy. And it's all about testing your existence with all of that, right? I could go on and on and on about all of this kind of stuff. And it's just, oh my gosh, just learning to believe in yourself, right? I'm such a sticky note person. I have sticky notes all around my room with different little notes and messages for myself. But I tell myself every day, I am going to change the world. One way or another, I'm going to leave my impact. I don't know what that is yet, but I'm going to change the world, right? And that's the kind of mindset you have to have. I talked in my last episode about it's all about how you show up, right? It's all about how you show up in person. Make sure your hair's done, you have nice clothes on, whatever, you're present, but it is also how you show up with yourself, right? If you wake up and you tell yourself, today's going to be a great day, well, today's going to be a great day then. If you smile, it makes you happy, right? Like, guys, come on, realize it. We can train our brains. We can rewire how we're thinking at the time. Happiness is not circumstantial. It is your choice. It is your choice to be happy or sad or angry or lazy, whatever. It is your choice. So what are you going to do with it? Right? Oh my God. I love you guys so much. Thank you to everyone that has joined me on this amazing, amazing journey with Ainon. Whether you've been here since day one or this is your first ever episode, I love you guys so, so much. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yes. So if you want to keep up with me on Instagram, you can follow me, which is inon.pod, inon.pod on Instagram. On YouTube, I am It's Now or Never Pod. And then if you want to submit a question or a comment or something you want to hear about on the next episode, you can go to alexandrawillard.com/submit a question. And with any of those, reach out to me, connect with me. If you have questions, please, please, please reach out. I am here for you and whatever you need. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing Friday and have a great weekend. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. I love you guys so much. Mwah. And don't forget to wish Einon a happy birthday today. Bye, loves. Bye.